Hello and welcome to the Learning Reading Hub. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 very common mistakes that people make when they're teaching children to read. These mistakes are so common that you might actually be making some of them without realizing that they can be detrimental to your child's reading success. To be honest, I am guilty too. I have made some of them in the past. So don't feel bad, the good thing is that they are easily fixable once you know them. So without further ado, let's get started. The first very common mistake that many people make is teach only letter names when they are working with beginner readers and they are trying to teach the alphabet. In fact, there are so many songs out there that teach just that, like the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. However, what we need to do instead is teach letter names and letter sounds at the same time. If your child only knows letter names, that is going to be of little value when he or she attempts to read words. On the other hand, if he or she only knows letter sounds, we're not going to have a reference to know what we're talking about. So we need to teach letter sounds and letter names at the same time. In fact, this is backed up by studies and research. For instance, this study from the Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia, concludes that there is little value in training preschoolers in either letter forms or sounds in isolation in advance of providing instruction on the links between the two. So when you're teaching your child the alphabet, say this is the letter A and it makes the A sound, this is the letter B and it makes the B sound, and so on and so forth. The second extremely common mistake is to add the sound at the end of letters when we're actually teaching letter sounds. So instead of teaching the sound for the letter M, we teach M, or the R sound for the letter R instead of R. Okay, if you're teaching sounds to your kid this way, please stop that habit as soon as possible. It is actually probably not your fault, that's the way you were told letter sounds yourself, but it is wrong. If we want to teach our kids to read phonetically, that is going to be problematic. Why? Because when we learn letter sounds this way, it presents serious problems when we attempt to blend the sounds in the words we read. Let's put an example. Think of the word map. Very easy to sound out and very easy to read, right? Okay, what happens when we try to read this word? If we've learned the letter sounds with the sound at the end, we will be adding extra sounds. You will read this word something like mapa, which is not even a word. Or think of the word lit, L-I-T. We would read something like lighter. A completely different word, right? So, let's stop this habit. Third mistake that is unfortunately commonplace is to ask children to memorize high-frequency words that can be easily sounded out. Honestly, there is no need. There are just so many so-called sight words that are in fact very regular from a phonics perspective. Think of at, in, on, if, as, can, run, him, did, big, not, hot, but, get, cat. What a pity asking children to memorize these words when honestly they don't even need very advanced phonics knowledge to read them. Of course, not all high-frequency words are phonetically decodable, but according to a study we did at the Learning Reading Hub, almost 72% are. And among the ones that are non-decodable, almost 100% contain chunks that are phonetically decodable. If you want to know more about this study and have a look at the infographic we did around that study and the results of the study, please check the video description and also this video over here. So, especially if you're dealing with high-frequency words that are so regular as the ones we've seen, please don't ask your child to memorize the word, just ask him or her to read it. As I said, find more information on the video description, including a very useful freebie that I created to understand high-frequency words that in my opinion could be a turning point for you in the way that you look at these words. The next mistake that I want to talk about is lack of repetition and practice. For children to become fluent readers, perseverance is key. They need to have learned to read lessons and or reading sessions every single day. Even if it's only a few minutes a day, it is much better to have shorter sessions, but every day or almost every day, than having much longer sessions, I don't know, once a week, twice a week, or even 3 times a week. By the time you have your next session, your child has already forgotten all that he's learned or she's learned on the previous one, and you sort of have to start from scratch. It makes sessions very frustrating for you and for the child. So even if it's just reading a couple of words or going over a sound that you've seen before with your child, introduce practice every single day if you can. Apart from that, another nuance to this mistake is forgetting to review with your child what you've previously taught him or her. When children are learning to read, they need a lot of repetition. So review and go over things that you've already seen with your child. Do not assume that because you've explained something once or even twice, she or he is going to remember. Mistake number 5 is the use of predictable books with beginner readers. When it comes to beginner readers, there are 2 types of books: level books or decodable books, also called phonics books or phonetically decodable books. Even if books in both categories look very similar, big letters, simple stories, pictures, when you dig in, you realize that they present substantial differences. Basically, level books are made by design to make children guess by looking at the pictures, by the context, or by how predictable the text is. For instance, look at this leveled book. Just wanted to share with you a quick example of a level book so you can have a better understanding of what I mean. So let's go. I like dogs. I like cats. I like bunnies. Just by looking at the picture, what do you think this is going to say? You guessed it. I like turtles. What you're doing when you're using these books is getting children into the habit of guessing. Reading, and I am sure you agree, is not guessing. Unfortunately, children that use labeled books can get the wrong idea that reading is guessing. On the other hand, phonetically decodable books give your children the opportunity to practice his or her reading skills. The only way to figure out what the words in this story are sounding out words. There could be pictures as well, but they are for decorative purposes, not to reveal this story or the words. If you want to know more about this specific topic and also get a super comprehensive list of good quality decodable readers, make sure to check the video description. I will leave you some links there. I hope you found value on this video. If that is the case, please hit the like button. That really helps the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye and see you on the next video.